What's good? What's good? How's everybody feeling? Back with another Avenger stream, talking about the future of the game. Hope everybody had a good week. We are officially in the weekend. Appreciate everybody coming through as always. If you haven't already, please make sure you like the video. That definitely helps the stream out. Helps YouTube recognize something people might be interested in. Definitely helps out the channel, and it's 100% free. What is good? What's going on? I see we got a lot of the usuals in the chat. We got KBT, Jeremiah, Truly, Universal Watcher, Cap Tate, what's good, nephew? Derek the Sim God, what's good? The Male Action, um, Peppa Le Pew, Edgar Flores, What Mouth? What Mouth? That's a good one, bro. DJ, what's good, DJ? Corey Harris in the house, T'Challa, and Chris. What's good, everybody? Got some interesting stuff to talk about with Avengers today. A lot of interesting things going on. We, of course, getting closer to the much anticipated reveal of the Winter Soldier. Well, not so much the reveal, or, more so like just in-game footage. We should start getting some news hopefully soon about exactly at the very least when we can expect to see him come to the game. So when patch 2.7 will come. We got 2.6.1 right around the corner, so that should be dropping. I'm thinking that should probably come this week coming up, so this upcoming Tuesday. And a lot of people are anticipating that. Like, a lot of data miners have their eyes set on that to get insight into what's coming in the next patch and things like that. What's good, Papa Beans? What's good, Cecilia? What's good, Shaquiz? Richard Jones, Loran? How you guys doing this morning or this evening? It's 1:15. I don't know why my time is always off on Saturdays. Maybe because I wake up so early, but we'll figure it out. But yeah, this is the man right here, who everybody is waiting to see. But the question we're talking about today is, what do you guys want to see after him? So what comes next after the Winter Soldier? Like, do you guys want more content? Do you want another hero? Do you want a new villain, mission or something like that? Or, do you want to see a more quality of life driven update like we got this year, like at the start of this year? So, you want to see more hero buffs, more tweaks to gameplay and stuff like that. Like, do you want to see a patch dedicated to that? Did YouTube remove my monetization? Not that I've seen. Yeah, I saw some people talking about that earlier. I didn't see anything about it on my end. Yeah, everything still looks good on my end. I saw some posts saying it might be a bug or something. I know YouTube is looking to get it straightened out. I definitely was confused. I'm like, oh, like when you was like they nuked monetization. I'm like, what happened? And then I check my stuff. I'm like, okay, it doesn't seem to affect me, so we'll figure it out. But what's good, Sadat? But yeah, let me know in chat who or what do you want to come after the Winter Soldier? Like, do you want mission content? Do you want a new hero? Like, what do you want, most after the Winter Soldier? So what do you want to see in patch 2.7? I mean 2.8. I put up a poll over on the community tab. You guys may have participated in it, talking about what people wanted after the Winter Soldier, and a lot of votes were for a new hero, which is understandable. I want a shutdown announcement for 2.8. I would expect disappointment on that front. I think you'll leave disappointed. But a lot of people, you want a lot of heroes. You got a lot of love for this person right here, who, I know the rumor recently was that she was canceled, and they moved away from her for different reasons and stuff. But I think there's a strong possibility you'll see her in the future. I don't know how far down the road that would be, but I strongly believe she's still in the pipeline. Avengers Tower raid with Falcon or Rhodey. It's funny you mentioned that. That's definitely on the list or the topic of discussion for today because a lot of people have been vocal about wanting that. We got She-Hulk love in the chat. We got Wanda, Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel. So yeah, like the biggest sentiment seems to be there. A lot of people want a heavy hitter. So it's like there's definitely some love for She-Hulk in the community, but some people want something a little a little more hard hitting when it comes to the next hero. We got Ultron. Okay, we got some villain love. Um, let me see. Yeah, we still got people holding out for the Spider-Man exclusivity on other platforms. Hey, this is another person who a lot of people want to see, come to the game. I doubt he'll come as Captain America, but definitely something a lot of people want to see, come to the game. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Like we had a hiccup there, but yeah, a lot of people want to see Falcon. I would love to see Falcon. I was just reading the Winter Soldier run in the comics, with Captain America and the Winter Soldier, and I would love to see Falcon as one of the next heroes coming to the game. One second, just figuring some stuff out. Should be good, I hope. Give me back my Rhodey. Yeah, people definitely want him as well. Yeah, I'm all about War Machine over here, so I definitely take War Machine if we can get him. Just I like I said, I've been vocal about that. I'll take any hero they have in the pipeline for the most part. Captain Marvel, like a lot of people are wondering where she is in the pipeline, how long it's going to be before we get hands on her. I I think well, honestly, it's hard to project what they're willing to do or what they plan to do, in terms of new heroes coming to the game because honestly, we don't know like if they're going to hit the ground running in 2023 or if they're going to kind of pace it. So we could start the year off with quality of life updates. So more design changes and things like that. Just to kind of get the year going, and then maybe announce a new hero or some new content in 2.9 or something like that. I'm definitely hearing that 3.0 is what they're targeting for a major shift in terms of the game's future in general. Like they're eyeing something big to drop in patch 3.0, to kind of set the tone for where they want the game to be, going for the foreseeable future. So like changing the dynamic of the game, and from what I've heard, it sounds interesting. Like that's the best way I can put it. It sounds interesting, but with Avengers, it ultimately will come down to execution and if it's functioning properly. And that's of course always fair. Um, but yeah, a lot of people want Doctor Strange. They want somebody even bigger. Like he's very popular right now, and I fully support the idea of going in a different direction, like after AIM. So it's like we don't have to go straight to Captain Marvel. I feel like exploring like a side adventure or something like that, kind of like what we got with War for Wakanda. Like War for Wakanda is not really. It's its own thing. It's a self-contained story that loosely has ties to the AIM story. That's the central focus of the game. I always wonder why they didn't use MCU to fill out the first year roster. Like I said, their pipeline is crazy. We don't know what all factors into that. We knew that they wanted to have Kate Bishop in the game, extremely early in the game's life for some reason. Um, why, we don't know. We don't know what most of the decision making is behind the scenes, and it is what it is, I guess. But people want Doctor Strange, people want Scarlet Witch, and I think both of them. It's weird. It's weird because I think like they know that people want them. It's just trying to figure out where in the pipeline they would fit them, because it sounds like they want to get on track to get Captain Marvel and the Kree invasion into the game, a lot sooner, because we've been sitting on that storyline for going on 3 years, and they definitely want to get it out of the way, but they also want to meet fan demand and deliver on heroes like this. So it's like I really I really don't know, because it's like if they drop either one of these two in the game, that would be a major win. But it's like, do you skip the line? Do you put Captain Marvel on hold even longer for somebody like Doctor Strange and Wanda, who would pretty much take the narrative in a different direction? Thoughts on Sadat's scoop of Guardian? I think you got to get your scoops together, bro. Check your sources. That's funny that you said that though. But yeah, it's like it's so many people that we want brought to the game. People want Vision, for obvious reasons, and it just seems like the selection process for upcoming heroes doesn't seem to factor in fan appeal all that much, because like somebody like the Winter Soldier probably wouldn't be as high on the list as people like Doctor Strange and Wanda if it was primarily based on what would do the best as far as fan reception and player reception. We also still don't know what happened with She-Hulk either. Yes, like I feel like information about She-Hulk getting out as early as it did just simply gave them the option to steer away from that, and for other reasons. Like I think it's other reasons behind the scenes that kind of affected why they chose to go with Bucky instead of She-Hulk. And like I said, we don't officially know that She-Hulk was the next character, but it's like it seemed to make sense to have her as the next hero with her show coming out and everything this year. And like I said, I'm cool with the Winter Soldier being the next hero, and I still believe She-Hulk will appear in the game in the future. But like I said, we it doesn't, nothing makes sense on the outside looking in, and that's fine. We speculate, we try to fill in the blanks where we can, but it seems like a lot of these heroes on this list that I've just shown would be easy wins for the game in terms of like just perception, like players really being happy, like universally being okay with the decision to bring in Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch, or finally bringing in Captain Marvel. I feel like those are easy wins versus, oh well, we're gonna do Jane Foster, and it's like, all right, well that's definitely gonna cause some divides in the community and stuff. I want Elsa Bloodstone. Yeah, I think she would have to wait a bit. Like if they did something like that, that's a divisive move. Whereas like I have no doubt she would be cool and a nice addition to the roster, but when you have her skipping over people like War Machine and Falcon, and even She-Hulk, is like, what's the thought process there? Why would you do that? And then it's like somebody like Ant-Man, who offers very unique gameplay potential, is like, that's what people are drawn to. They want somebody who plays completely different. So Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Wanda, Captain Marvel, they're going to play completely unique from everybody else in the game. Captain Marvel doesn't fight like Thor. She doesn't fight like Iron Man or anything like that. Ant-Man, he, his ability to shift between sides at will, offers very unique gameplay opportunities. And you can pair him up with her, and again, you got a lot of the original Avengers roster intact. You know what I'm saying? You bring in, people like War Machine and Falcon on the back end. You bring in Scarlet Witch and Vision on the back end, and you got a very solid roster going forward versus what we have now that seems kind of cobbled together, because it's like you got Spider-Man in the game, but he's only there for a third of the player base. Um, you got essentially two Thors, and now you have Winter Soldier, who, his combat and gameplay is going to be in line with, Captain America and Black Widow in terms of just, melee combat and, ranged gunplay. So it's like you're not offering anything groundbreaking with, a hero like that, or, Jane Foster, but and that's why people are feeling like the game is getting stale with its releases, because it's like, why aren't you doing things like this? Why aren't we focusing time and resources towards actually, getting something impressive in the pipeline versus giving us more of what we already have? And the answer is that's what they can do right now. They were in a transitional year. They got a recent acquisition by a new publisher, so you got different parts moving to different projects and things like that, and they're in the hiring process trying to replace a lot of those people. So they did the best they could with what they had, and that's why you saw someone like the Winter Soldier, who I believe would just be a little less challenging on the team overall, to kind of bring together. So it's like we can bring new, fresh attributes to them. We can give them new heroics and things like that, while managing to use some of the resources we already have available design wise to fill out the rest of his combat. And it's like, I get it, they're working on the game, they're doing what they can, and they don't have as many resources as some of the bigger studios that people are fans of, but they're still trying to deliver quality content as best they can. The No Rest for the Wicked villain sector is like, yeah, I understand why people were underwhelmed with it, but that was just something. They're trying to give you something. Like they just tried to give you something. Like, hey, this is something new to do. It doesn't offer much, and they could have did more to make it more worthwhile and engaging. So like dropping new gear, that people can farm for there. Dropping gear that raises your power level or something, like just something, just to make it worth playing outside of here's a new villain sector that doesn't really offer much, in terms of rewards. It's like, but at the same time, we don't know what their timeline was, what the, what the criteria was for getting that out, to launch and ship and everything. So it's like, I try not to go too hard on them, because I genuinely don't know all the details about what's going on behind the scenes. And I do know that they don't have the biggest team. We don't know specifics about how many people are currently working on the game, but we know it's nowhere near the amount of people that a lot of bigger studios have available. So, it's like I try to cut them some slack. But, a lot of people want a new villain. People want someone else to fight. We're finally getting MODOK in multiplayer, but, I understand people being disappointed with that as well, and wanting to see someone a little more, unique, and a little more iconic, so somebody like Ultron, who, is rumored to be in development. He's definitely rumored to be a part of their plans, and from what I'm hearing, his role in patch 3.0, if that's the direction they're going, that would be interesting. That would be an interesting spin on what they plan, what they have planned for patch 3.0. And it's like, I don't doubt that Ultron is definitely in the pipeline and is in plans for development and release, but it's with all things in Avengers, it's always a matter of when are we going to get it, when are we going to see it, and what's the execution going to be like. If we want completely, War Machine, Captain Marvel shouldn't be in the combo. Yeah, it's like Captain Marvel shouldn't be in the combo. Like, she's been in the combo since the beginning of the game. They've been teasing and hinting at her returning to the game since its launch. And it's like, at some point you got to deliver on that. So it's like year 3 has to be the year that you see Captain Marvel come to the game, either at the end of the year or the middle of the year. But I feel like year 3, she definitely has to be in the pipeline. Like we can't do another year of leading up to a Kree invasion because people are definitely going to be over it at that point. Um, but yeah, it's like someone who's really rising in popularity in terms of mainstream appeal and recognition. Kang the Conqueror. A lot of people are going to be a lot more familiar with this dude as the as new movies come out in the MCU, especially with Ant-Man right around the corner. Um, that would be a good thing to capitalize on with this game. Like you have one of the few games where you're offering players a chance to go head to head with one of the MCU's biggest villains who's currently on the rise, because he's right now we don't have Doctor Doom or anybody like that in the MCU. Thanos is off the board, so it's like capitalizing on Kang the Conqueror would be huge. And it's like you kind of already have enough there to justify introducing him into the game storyline. You got the tachyon anomalies and the time the manipulation and all of that stuff. So it's like you can easily bring in Kang the Conqueror narrative wise. Just whatever they did, something Monica did or something the Avengers did, time wise, or like Jane Foster being in their timeline disrupts something in his future. So he's coming back to correct the timeline, and the Avengers are trying to stop him because his idea of correcting, doesn't end well for, their Earth and their timeline. So it's like you can definitely get him into the story. Anything dealing with time is just the perfect gateway, for somebody like him. But you can go even bigger. You got, I would be all about Doctor Doom coming to this game, and it's like they've spoken about wanting bigger villains and wanting more interesting villains coming to the game. And I think that's part of why they're hiring for that role specifically. Like they're hiring someone for boss and enemy design, and they definitely want to get a better pipeline going to deliver enemies more frequently, because they know people are burnt out on the same handful of villains we've been fighting forever. And it's like at this point it's like I don't know what they do. What should they do? Like I know a lot of people want a Crossbones villain sector, or just to see him, pop up in multiplayer in some capacity. And it's like, how do you handle that? So it's like, do you, dedicate a patch to that and say, oh, well, here's the new, Crossbones villain sector. And people are going to, of course, kill you for that because they're like, oh, they're rehashing, the same old content. They aren't offering anything new, even though it, would be your first time fighting him as his own villain sector and all of that. But it's like, I understand the perception and the optics of it. If you think Captain Marvel is going to play like Iron Man, then clearly you have. It's like I said, that's always going to be a conversation. I told you guys, like, no matter who you say, somebody's gonna call laziness on it. So as much as people have been clamoring for Doctor Strange and Wanda, when they come to the game, when they're announced for the game, you're still gonna hear complaints. I guarantee it. So whoever comes, they're gonna complain, why isn't it the other person? And then when that other person is revealed to come next, they're gonna be getting called a clone. Oh, she's just gonna be a clone of Doctor Strange, or Doctor Strange is just gonna be a clone of Scarlet Witch. It's going to happen. Like I can guarantee it, bro. Like it's just going to happen. Like no matter what happens with this game, that stuff just isn't going to go away. What's up, Bucky Barnes, bro? How you doing? That's just par for the course right now. And like I said, it's fine. I get it. I'm not getting down on it. I don't care. Like I'm over it at this point. But yeah, it's like you got Secret Labs, right around the corner. And do you want more content like that? Do you want more, Omega level threats, more raids? Would you be okay with the game focusing on content like that, since they're not going to be doing expansions and operations going forward. So it's like like I said, people want heroes, people want villains, people want new missions. It's like what's the next move after Bucky, and after this year, because expectations for next year are going to be big because people are like, okay, well, you got to make up for what you didn't do this year. We downsized the two heroes. We mostly did rework. It's like, how do you deliver in year three? And that's the question. Like, what do we do first? I feel like that's the biggest challenge they're facing. Like, what do we deliver on first? It's sad though. Avengers can never get a break. I mean, like I said, they push forward. It doesn't matter. Like every game, like you see it now with Gotham Knights. Like everybody, when we only had Arkham Knight games, everybody wanted a game that featured the Robin and Batgirl and Red Hood and everything like that. And now you have a game solely focusing on them, and everybody like, hey, where's Batman? We want to play with Batman. Oh, this isn't like Arkham Knights, or this isn't like Arkham City and all of that. Why is the gameplay different? It's like it's a different game. So it's like unfair criticism just is a part of gaming at this point. Like that's just what it is. But yeah, it's like I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Cloning Lab and how they designed it, what the length of the mission is and things like that. But I know people are going to complain because I feel like a lot of people are going in with the expectations of it being similar to the raid when it's just an Omega level threat. What's good, Deeper Dubs, bro? How you feeling, man? Hope Saturday is being kind to you so far. And I hope you had a good week, bro. Shout out to you. I definitely been watching you, bro. Definitely been seeing you grinding and continuing to rise out there. Nothing but the best for you, bro. Captain Marvel would be a completely different and new and fresh hero to the game. Yeah, it's like at this point, it's like I don't know what else they can do outside of just showing you, because it's like every hero, even with Jane Foster, they introduce something new with them. They do enough to make them new and unique. So it's not like she's just a complete reskin of Thor. So you didn't just get Thor with a female skin slapped on top. It's like she still has unique attributes, but she is mostly built from his kit. So it's like I get it, but it's like with people you wouldn't even expect to hear the term Echo slapped around on them. Is like that's just going to be there. So it's like you get somebody like Vision in the game, I guarantee you they're gonna just say he's borrowing or cloning somebody else, and it's like I don't know what to do about that. But yeah, it's like I would love to see more mission content, like a new raid, and I think Captain Marvel presents the next best opportunity to introduce a new raid, once she eventually arrives to the game. But, something a lot of people want to do is get a mission where you fight to get, the Avengers Tower back. And it's like that's on their radar. They know something. They know that's something people want. That's not something that hasn't been shared with the dev team, and that's not something they haven't seen all over Twitter, Reddit, Discord, and all of those other places. It's just like everything else. It's a matter of getting resources in place to focus on that. But yeah, bro. Yeah, Deep. Bro. Like back when back in the '90s, even the early 2000s, it's like we just accepted the games when they were coming out. Like nobody was, breaking down the door trying to get the earliest scoops possible and stuff like that. And unless the game is just absolutely terrible, even if it is, it's like we just say it's not as good as the last one. But it's like nobody's like I didn't like when like what's an example? Like Mortal Kombat 3, when that first came out, they were missing a lot of the key characters from the roster. And it's like, yeah, you heard some grumbles about it, but it's like it was nowhere near as massive as it's been for a lot of games recently. And the studio, they understood that, and they released another edition that included all of those fighters that people wanted to see. So it's like they hear you, they know what you want. They were just trying something new. Like developers, they try different things all the time. They want to you know, they're trying to be creative, and it's like I feel like nowadays people are kind of stamping out the room for them to be creative and explore different things, and it's like that's why they went into the field to be creative, and it's like I would love to see them do more of that in gaming in general. Like this game has so much opportunity for just unique creative design. So it's like the shipments, you can create unique designs, you know, all of the time for that. So I don't think they should do recolors for shipment skins. And I feel like if you have one skin for a month, you know, you have a month to get a new skin ready. It's like just do something completely unique. So something that's 100% your art team's design, and you bring that to the game's marketplace or the game's, you know, shipments and things like that. I feel like coming up with a unique hero, so somebody completely unique, working with Marvel to get the licensing and everything to create your own hero would be something that would be cool to do in a game like this. That would be a cool hero event. And you know, it's like I have my ideas and thoughts about, you know, hero events. Like I feel like a hero event should be dedicated to adding in a side character, somebody who doesn't necessarily tie into the game's main story, but is a big hero that would appeal to a large player base. So like you throw in Wolverine in a hero event, or you throw in, you know, somebody like Hyperion in a hero event. You know, if you want to add Daredevil or Moon Knight or, you know, Luke Cage or somebody like that, just to get them into the story, I feel like hero events should be used for that. What's up, Aaron? How you doing, man? Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody popping in. Appreciate everybody coming through. If you can, slap a like. I promise you it helps. It 100% helps the channel, but definitely appreciate you guys being here. But how dope would this be to be able to go in, you know, and just fight your way back through Avengers Tower and take it back like that? I know that battle would more than likely have to take place legally, and like I said, that's something you can add in for She-Hulk. You know, just either elevator dialogue or just like, hey, you know, we brought you in to win this case for us, you know, in court and stuff like that. But you know, actually, you know, being able to go fight in the building, because hey, AIM doesn't want to give it up. AIM doesn't follow the law. They, you know, those people don't care what the judge would rule. They're like, hey, we're gonna do what we want to do, and all right, the Avengers are going to go in there and take their building back. And it's like, hey, do your thing. Like, yeah, it's like just do what you can, you know, and try to balance what people want to see. It's like I feel like more focus needs to go on that, just to get better player reception around the game. So when people hear about Avengers, it's not always something negative or something underwhelming. It can be something that universally gets people excited about what's coming to the game. You know, it's like I think more focus should definitely be put on that, because this is what people want. People want to be in Avengers Tower. Like the helicarrier is cool. Appreciate that, Jeremiah. Appreciate that, Mookie. Just get back where we are, bro. Just get back where players want to be. Avengers Tower, you know, you got, you know, Jarvis helping out, set up things and stuff like that. Everybody can have a room. Do something new. Just add something new. And again, I know that's going to take time, but it's something that should be considered and explored. But yeah, like a Hive Gauntlet, you know, Avengers Tower, that would be fine. Or just like I said, waves. Like introducing a wave format of enemies that introduces bosses at, you know, every other wave or every third wave or something like that. So mixing bosses in with waves of enemies, I feel like is the simplest format to go to with, you know, just designing new missions and things like that. Because it's like it really doesn't have to be that deep. Like I'm not the only person who has a ton of fun just smashing everybody and smashing waves of enemies in a harm room, you know, session. And it's like I don't get anything from that, you know, reward wise. I'm not getting XP, I'm not getting gear, but I am having fun with the combat. I am having fun, you know, challenging my hero, soloing, you know, a room full of, you know, adaptoids and exos just to see, you know, how fast I can do it, what my survivability looks like, you know, things like that. And doing that in a mission where you are getting gear, where you are getting XP, would be extremely fun and rewarding to do. Like you get exclusive gear for, Like you can do 20 levels with this or something like that, and players, you and your strike team go through, try to blow through waves of enemies. You mix it up, you throw in a couple bosses, you maybe do 2 or 3 bosses on the floor, or after every third or fifth level, the number of bosses increases, the number of waves increases. Just to make it more challenging. People want challenge. People want to fight villains. People want to do stuff that's kind of outside the normal cycle of design that we've been getting with missions, because like most of the missions in the game currently, nobody really wants to play that consistently because a lot of it doesn't really offer anything. So it's like that's why they use those missions in event objectives, because it's like outside of that nobody would touch it. So a lot of the Warzone missions that only offer minor artifacts, is like nobody's playing a whole mission for that. It's just not that engaging, and it's like I feel like there's room to improve there. So something like having players fight through a tower of enemies, that's something you should be exploring. But yeah, it's like this is the poll I put up, and at the time I took this snapshot, you got 1,100 votes. A lot of people want a new hero. 53% of you guys want a new hero, and 12% want new missions. 33% wants a new villain, and 2% were interested in hero buffs. So it's like I think the numbers speak for themselves, and it's like, okay, so who do we bring in next? What hero would slap the hardest to start off the year? Versus who's the most feasible. So it's like I don't know what their resources are right now. So it's like I don't know if they have the resources to go all in on something majorly expansive like Doctor Strange or Scarlet Witch at the start of the year. So maybe somebody like War Machine would be a lot simpler on the design team. So it's like I don't know. But at the same time, I know for a fact if you bring in War Machine behind Winter Soldier, even though a lot of people are going to be hyped for that, a lot of people are 100% going to be hyped for War Machine. I guarantee it. Mike with the sub, appreciate you. Thank you for becoming an Avenger. But yeah, it's like even with War Machine being as popular as he is, you're going to get people with the, oh, well, he's just an echo of Iron Man argument. And it's like, I personally don't care that's going to be the conversation. But it's like, if we're trying to the game going forward, do we kind of take the time to introduce somebody a little more, intriguing gameplay wise? So it's like, I get it. I get that there are challenges that they face, and it's not as simple as, hey, just do this or just do this one thing. It's a lot of things that play and a lot of things that factor into that. But like I said, I feel like 2023 is going to be the year to see what Avengers really can be, because it's like you got a new publisher now. You're doing new hiring. You're bringing in new people to kind of expand the team where you can. But I feel like 2023 is really going to be the proving ground for what this game is going to be long term. Because like with the Winter Soldier, that's going to show us what their vision for story content is going to be, because they've already said that they're not doing expansions and operations in the future, or they don't look to be in the business of doing that. And people are like, okay, we still really care about story, and they've said, okay, well, you're still going to get a story. We just don't, we're just not going to go about it the same way that we used to. And it's they're doing what they can, I guess. But like I said, it's going to be interesting. It's really going to be interesting to see what they can pull off going into next year. How do you guys think Bucky's story going to be presented? Like, how do you think his story is going to be handled? Because I saw some people with the misconception that they won't even get to see anything about him because his story is going to be tied into cloning labs, and it's like he's going to be a factor in cloning labs. the hero itself is going to be separate from Cloning Lab, so you'll still be able to explore his story, in single player, just playing with him as he is. It's not like you have to be able to go into Cloning Labs to even access Bucky or, unlock his story and all of that. What's good, Triple Cut? Um, I don't understand how players want a new hero. It's like eating the same cake but with another fork. It's still gonna taste the same. I disagree. New heroes actually make the content engaging again. Appreciate that sub, Triple Cup. Thank you for becoming an Avenger. But yeah, it's like when you get a new hero and now you get to run them through the content, it's refreshing in a way. So it's like, yeah, it's the same mission, but you're playing it in a new way. So, Winter Soldier is going to play different than how you play with Jane Foster. And it's like that adds a unique dynamic to it, and that's something interesting. Leveling that hero up and unlocking all their different skills, learning what works best, what suits your playstyle the best, and things like that. That's all more engaging than simply, just playing that same mission with a hero who you've had leveled up for months and you have all the gear you need for them and everything like that. So it's nothing new there for you. So that mission feels pointless, and running it with that hero feels pointless. So now when you get your hands on a new player or a new hero, you want to do all of those things because it's like now you have a reason because you're chasing gear for this new hero and you want to see how they perform. You want to, like I said, just develop a play style for that hero in general. And it's like you learn the new meta and everything. No, that's 100% fair, Jens. Like I'm not dictating to you what your experience with new heroes has to be or anything like that. If you're more interested in villains and missions and stuff like that, I get it. I'm just speaking about how it feels for on my end. I think story content should revolve around the villain. I think I think story content should just I don't think it should dictate the lineup or the pipeline of heroes as heavily as it does currently. Like I think they kind of hold up the process a lot more than necessary with making everything tied into narrative. And I've heard recently that they're trying to move away from that. So they're trying to get into to set things up in a way where they can introduce new villains and heroes without everything being so heavily tied into story. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see how that actually pans out and what that actually looks like. And I feel like taking a step back on the story driven content in general is we're starting to see elements of that in the new content they're dropping. So like No Rest for the Wicked is like yes, it has some story beats, but it's like it's really not that deep, and it's like from what they've said ahead of his release, the Winter Soldier story is going to be presented pretty similar to Spider-Man. So how we saw Spider-Man's mission objectives and everything handled, I think that's is going to be similar to that. What's good, Eastwood? I got all my characters to 175, and I want to have new heroes. Yeah, it's like, hey, I get it, and that's why I say like if none of this really interests you, like if you're not interested in the new hero, you don't like the mission design, and you don't feel like villains, really move the needle for you, and you don't care about hero buffs and things like that. It's like I feel like you're generally just burnt out on the game, and that's why I've been suggesting that people who feel like that just kind of step away from the game in general and give them like a at least 2 to 3 updates before coming back. That way you have a little more to explore something new. And if none of what they added in those 2 to 3 updates excites you or interest you in any way, then you might just need to put the game down in general. Like you just don't like this game. Like I don't like the game design. I don't like the content flow. I don't like the mission setup. I don't like a lot. I don't like most of what the game is offering. So I'm gonna get out of here. I feel like that's the most reasonable solution for that. If you don't enjoy it and nothing about their announcements excites you, it's like I don't see a reason for still being there. I say give us something we don't see coming, like two characters back to back, or like a tag team character. Think of something like Ice Climbers. I, I get what you're saying. Like I said, I feel like that's asking for a lot from this team as it's currently constructed. It's like two heroes in one update. I don't see that happening at all. Like in any foreseeable future, and I don't think they want to do that anyway, because it's like as hard as it's been for them to kind of get out content and try to meet player demand, is like dropping two heroes in one event is like, how much time does that buy you before people are asking for the next one? You get what I'm saying? And if it doesn't buy you any real time, then it's like that was kind of a waste of resources, and you could have saved that and spaced it out a little more. So it's like I feel like if they can get to a place in the pipeline where they're dropping a new hero like every 3 months, that gives you what, four heroes in a year, and you can drop content in between. So you drop villains and content throughout the year. You got four heroes a year. So I feel like that would be feasible. That should be feasible, and that should be the goal going forward. Like, let's outsource what we don't have to focus on, and whatever is the in-house priority, let's try to get a consistent delivery cycle going for that kind of content. Winter Soldier should be a villain, then a playable character. A lot of people wanted that, and again, like I said, that's just asking for a lot from this team. It's like you got to design him as an enemy, you got to design him for multiplayer engagement, and then you also have to design him, to be a playable hero, all within a regular development cycle for a new hero. And it's like I just don't think they had the capability of pulling something like that off. What's good, Christopher Rogers? How you doing, man? I hope you've had a good week as always. I'm okay with echo characters, especially when the character wouldn't have been in the game at all. Yeah, like I said, I get it. I think timing has to be key with something like that. So, in a year where you really didn't offer all that much as far as new content, I don't think an echo character was the best decision, especially if you knew you were going to end the year with only one other hero being released, and that hero themselves will have elements of other heroes in them. So it's like, I feel like if that's the case, if we knew we could only do two heroes, we should have did like She-Hulk and then just got the Kree invasion going. So let's just do Captain Marvel this year. So the Kree invasion and Captain Marvel as the end of the year content, and the AIM cloning lab stuff is like we'll do that when we can, because it's like the Kree invasion can just be a separate storyline, and then the conclusion, the AIM, can come at the end of that. So that's something we do early next year or something. But like I said, that's just me spitballing. What keeps me coming back to this game is that they nailed combat so well. There are not many games out there with this immersive of a combat system. Yeah, I 100% agree, Deep. I'm telling you, like, once you really flesh out the combat and level up your heroes and like really get them to a place where your build where you're hitting as hard as you want to, it's amazing. Like, throwing Captain America's shield around off of corners and walls and ceilings and kicking people in the head with it and everything like that is like no other game is really offering that. Like, we've had Captain America in several games over the years, but it's like no Captain America game has offered this kind of engaging combat. And it's like that is what's really engaging and what keeps a lot of people around. And people want to do that. They just want to do it against their favorite villain. So it's like, yeah, people want to fight Ultron with Captain America and the Hulk and Iron Man and all of that stuff. And they also want more of their favorite heroes into the game. So it's like, Kate Bishop wasn't the most popular character. I appreciate what they were able to do with her, especially gameplay wise, but if I'm on a development team, it's like she maybe comes a little later, so maybe she comes this year instead of Jane Foster. And last year we get Hawkeye, Black Panther, Spider-Man, and maybe War Machine or somebody, just to, have more fanfare in the game. So somebody more recognizable in the lineup, and then, that's what we have, going forward. Hawkeye should have been the first hero they added right after the game's release. So instead of Kate Bishop, I would have went with Hawkeye and then save Kate Bishop maybe for later next year. So maybe instead of Spider-Man, you get Kate Bishop. ahead of the Hawkeye show, and something like that. Is like, I feel like little tweaks and changes are all they would need, in general. But again, like I said, what they did with Kate Bishop is dope. Giving her aim technology to let her teleport around, something completely unique. That's not something she's known for in the comics. That's something completely unique to their game specifically, and it works. It adds a completely different dynamic to her combat that you can't find anywhere else. So you can play with Kate Bishop in mobile games and things like that, but you can't play with her like that. And it's like that's the kind of creative thought process that goes into making their characters unique. And it's like, Jane Foster, she has one of the best ultimate heroics in the game, and no one else can do that. No one else has that ability, and it also shares elements of someone else's ultimate heroic as well, but it works. You get what I'm saying? It's effective. It hits hard. You feel like you're clearing out the room when you got Mjolnir flying around doing its own thing, and you're throwing around the all weapon. So it's like it just works. It's fun, and we want more of that. And it's like, I just want to see them get to a place where they can deliver on that more consistently. 53% of 1,100 people want to see a new hero. And like I said, the question is, who should that hero be? Because it's like, I don't think they worry as much about perception, player perception and fan reception when it comes to the decisions they make as they possibly should. I think they should factor in negative perception a lot more than they do, just to kind of change the narrative around the game, just so that every time you announce something, every time you release something, it's not just met with snarky, backhanded comments and things like that. People should be genuinely excited about what we are offering and what we are bringing to what we're bringing to the table. I After the moves they made in recent years, I have to believe they're looking at going free to play next year. Like, I think next year would be the year that we will see free to play. If that's something that they have in the works, next year would be the year that you will see it. And again, I know that will get more people to try the game in general. Like, more people will pick up the game and try it if it's 100% free. But a lot of the day one players, they're going to complain about having to pay for content, because that's going to be the next step. You're going to have to, you don't go free to play and stick with the, selling only items in the marketplace, marketing strategy. It's like that's not going to hold up. And if I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do that, but that doesn't make the most sense financially. Like, if you're genuinely trying to raise profit, by going free to play, you have to charge for content. So it's like, we should consider going back to expansions and operations. We just sell them now, so we figure out a price point for that. Either like $15, $20, whatever we need it to be, and we sell that, and we have to ask ourselves, do we sell our heroes going forward? Do we sell early access to heroes going forward? How does that work? What do you do? You hear what I'm saying? But it's like, we should be considering how to increase profit to make the game, more of a success. Because if you can change the narrative around the game and you can make the game profitable in its third year, that opens the door for Avengers 2. A lot of people want to see them just take what they learned, repack everything, get a better engine, and move forward with all of these ideas, bring the current roster over, and expand everything. So maybe you open up the strike team to 6 to 8 people or something like that. Maybe you do free roam or something like that, and then maybe you go current gen only. But whatever you do, you're not going to get there with the game in its current state. So with every release that you drop, somebody's rolling their eyes or making fun of it. It's like, there is no way you're going to announce an Avengers 2 with the same studio behind it and not be met with extreme criticism, extreme negativity and things like that. And it's like, that's something I think they really need to start combating in year 3. And from what I've heard, it sounds like some of the ideas they have in place would do a lot towards, kind of going against that and changing people's minds about Avengers. And I think going free to play would be the best way to combat that in a large part, because that gives more people access and more of a way to be willing to play the game. more of an incentive to play the game because it's free. So I didn't pay for this game. I heard nothing but bad things about it. Now it's free. Let me go ahead and check it out. What do I have to lose? Oh, I actually like this game. I like the combat. I really like throwing Captain America's shield around. I really like playing with Thor. This game is actually fun. I don't know what all the negativity was about. But you never would have got to the point of trying it out because you only heard, what negative reviews were saying. So it's like going free to play. What do you have to? What you have nothing to lose, really. They should go to free to play for multiplayer. I mean, if they're going free to play, it's gonna be for the game in general. Like that's pretty much just gonna be it. Like Destiny, they sell they sell content. So if you're new to the game and you want to catch up with where everybody else is and you want access to the old stuff, you got to pay for that. And it's like, I get it. If you don't like that or you don't feel like that's fair, don't play it. But if you do and you do want access to that content, you have to pay for that because we put a lot of time and work into that, and we're not in the business of making content for free. And it's like, I feel like Avengers definitely needs to have that same energy because that's where profit comes. Like that's literally how you make money. Will they listen to us though? They listen to you. Is you have to temper what players want, what makes sense with what the team is able to do. So it's not as easy as just, oh, we heard a cool idea on the internet, let's do that, because it's like there's a whole host of other problems that come with that. I blame Square Enix for the bad reputation given to Avengers and its poor marketing and launch timing. Like I say, I mean, a lot of the blame definitely goes on them for how they handled the game post launch and everything. But like I said, it's so much was just not well thought out for this game in general. Like as far as what they wanted this game to actually be, it seemed like a lot of half thought out ideas. Like they put a ton of work into the campaigns and the story and everything, but it's like once you get to the multiplayer side, it's like, what are we doing? Like what are you really asking players to do in this game? Like you say you want it to be a looter, but majority of the loot is trash. You can't really farm effectively because everything is time gated, and it's like what was the mission design here? Like we're roaming around empty environments fighting robots for the most part. It's like we could have put a lot more thought into what we were doing. And it's like looking at something like Gotham Knights is like you can tell they put a lot of thought and effort into what they actually want this game to be, both in terms of story and in terms of what we want players to be able to do once the story is wrapped up. So once your story wraps up, you can go play with another hero and get a completely different story experience. And once you're done with all of that, all right, well, you can roam around Gotham. We built this massive environment for you to explore, and there's loot. There's things for you to open. There's things for you to do. You can still build your characters differently. All of this stuff, and it's like we also have plans to introduce more content beyond that. And it's like that's what you need your vision for your game to be. And it's like with Avengers, initially it just seemed like random nonsense go. It's like they've spent the better part of this year trying to correct a lot of that, and it's like I applaud the effort, but it's like optically, it's like, especially for day one players, it's like what are we getting at this point? But in the same vein, I understand leaning more towards appealing to newer players and players who are just being introduced to the game, because the veteran players, they switch up on you every week. So you introduce a skin they don't like, oh well, I'm not buying anything from the marketplace until they do this. Where that new player, hey, oh my God, they have so many MCU skins. They have so many things that I love. Let me buy this. I want to go. I'm buying nameplates. I'm buying takedowns. I'm buying all of these things because I'm not jaded by the development team. So it's like, of course, that's who you would appeal to. Like if you had, if you got a girlfriend, your girlfriend is constantly telling you she's gonna leave you after everything. So you didn't do the dishes, I'm about to leave you. You didn't take the garbage out when I asked you to. I'm about to leave you. I'm gonna go cheat. And you have a new woman showing you interest, and she all about it. She like, hey, I'll do the dishes. I just want to be with you. I'm happy to be with you. It's like, who are you gonna give your time and effort to? So it's like think of it like that. If the veteran players is like I definitely feel like they should be throwing the bone, but at the same time, it's like they stop playing. They stop engaging with the marketplace. One sec, guys. Oh yeah, it's like if you, it just doesn't make sense to try to appeal to veteran players primarily when those are the hardest people to please. As you just saw with patch 2.6, everybody blew through that content and was like, well, is that it? Oh, that was a waste of time. And then new players are like, oh man, I'm excited to see what happens next. So it's like, just step outside of yourself and look at what just makes sense objectively. What makes the most sense for them to do objectively. They need to add the Masters of Evil. I would love to see it. You know, I'll just take Zemo. Just give me Zemo. But yeah, it's like do something new and refreshing. But it's like I said, there just has to be a balance, and that seems like the game's biggest problem, maintaining balance. So we in the beginning it was a balancing issue with single player content versus multiplayer content, where we lean way too heavily towards single player content and completely abandon multiplayer content. And now they're doing the reverse, and single players are upset. They're leaving the game. They're like, oh well, I only care about single player content, while at the same time ignoring the fact that you don't interact with the marketplace. If you are freezing out the game's marketplace, if you are boycotting the game's marketplace, you kind of by default, negate your own arguments. It's like you take yourself out of the voting equation about what the game should do, what the future should be, because it's like you're not contributing to anything. If the game needs monetary support, you're not contributing to that. And it's like I get your reasons why, but it's like it makes no sense. You get what I'm saying? It's like taking a boycott against your car. I'm not going to put gas in you until you run the way I want you to. But you need gas to run. So you still want the car to do your errands, but you're not putting gas in there. It's like, well, somebody has to put gas in the car, bro. I get it ain't the best car, but it's like it still need gas to run. And if you're not going to put gas in there, it's like you can't get mad when the car, sputters out on you and you're on the side of the road. It's like, it just, if I'm not engaging with the game, if I'm mad, like, hey, I don't trust this game, I don't trust that it won't shut down, I'm not buying anything, I'm just getting out of here, bro. Like, I'm just going to leave, because it's like it I don't know, man. I don't know. This is why we go with the electric car. Hey, go with innovation. But yeah, it's like this game did not have the best launch, bro. Like we didn't have the best vision for this game and what it could be right out of the gate. And that did the game a big disservice, and as you can see, that is a very hard thing to turn around going into year three. Like, you're still struggling with changing that. And there are people optimistic about the recent acquisition. There are people optimistic about what the game can do next year. There's still optimism about the game's future in general. But there's also people who wrote this game off a long time ago. You got a lot of people who hang around just for the negative interaction. So if they see you posting anything positive about the game, they are going to come over there and, just bring negativity just for the sake of being negative, because that's what they do with this game. People make disingenuous videos comparing this game to other things that have nothing to do with it, just because. That's where we are with the game. Hulk interacts with vehicles in the campaign by pushing them to the side, but he doesn't interact online with cars. Yeah, that's something I've passed on to them. Like, hey, the Hulk should be able to pick up stuff. The Hulk should be able to pick up cars and tanks and just throw that kind of stuff around. And I was telling them that, and you guys saw this in my video about some of the things the game needs. And I was saying, like, the Hulk should be able to use, like, defeated Dreadbots and Exos. Like, he should be able to use their parts as weapons, like maybe taking off an Exo leg or an arm and hitting enemies with that. and using the Dreadbot to kind of form his metal gloves, his his fighting gloves, and really just start doing enhanced damage with that. Like those are things they can do, and it's like they've said they can do it. Like I said, it's the same answer with everything. It's possible. It's simply just allocating the resources and time to doing something like that and figuring out how that will work design wise. Do I have any insider info on the Embracer deal? No, I do not. The Embracer deal is done. Like that's, I feel like people are overthinking that. I've said that consistently. Like I feel like people are vastly overthinking the complexity of that deal. So the fact that you're still able to play the game, like if there was no deal in place, if there was no agreement to continue to license just under Embracer, you wouldn't be able to play this game now. Like they would be on the verge of shutting down, or they would have announced the shutdown date by now, because the deal is done. The studio is acquired, and all of their IPs and everything carried over, and all of their existing projects carried over. So the negotiation would have taken place before the deal was completed. So it's like the deal is done. I don't know what else we're waiting on. It's like it's the deal is done, bro. Like we never got the specifics of the Square Enix deal with Marvel. So it's like to expect specifics on this new deal is like it's not. I don't think that's going to happen. I think in their next quarterly report, you'll probably see a short presentation talking about some of the things the game has planned for the future, like long term. So Embracer saying, "Oh, we are supporting the studio in their projects." I feel like that's about the best we can hope for. But like I said, the game is business as usual. Like the studio is still developing new content. They've been under the new publisher since August. The deal is done. Like there is no inside info to be given. Like they're still working on the game. When Hulk jumps on vehicles, they should explode or cause damage, but he doesn't, which is weird. Yeah, it's like I feel like they're looking at stuff like that now. Like what's good, Reginald? What did you miss? Just talking about the usual, bro. Like what people want to see. So people want to see an Avengers Tower mission, where we kind of fight to take that back. I was asking people, do they want to see more missions like Secret Lab in the future? Do they want to see a new villain, like Doctor Doom or Kang, or Ultron, who we know is going to be a part of the game's future. We just don't know when he's popping up. Even though I have some ideas about that, which I'll cover in the video soon. Do you want a new hero next? And if you do want a new hero, who do you want? Because there's plenty of options they can go with. It's just all a matter of who should be next, who makes the most sense, who's the most feasible, like who do we go with after we get past Bucky. But yeah, Eastwood, that's all I'm saying, bro. Like I don't think it's really that deep. I think the game existing is showing you that the deal is safe. If it wasn't, it would be a wrap by now. And it's like the idea of constantly stressing over that, it just isn't good for anybody. And that's why I try to give you guys a balanced perception of it, because it's like it's not that deep. There's no need to panic about everything with that deal, because it was in the works. It's been in the works since since before May. So before that deal was announced in May, it was already in the works. Like they were already working on that, which is why they started hiring for new people. Like back when I told you guys about one of their lead producers moving over to Perfect Dark, he assured me that no, they're going to be hiring to replace him, and he was still working on the project. So he was partly working on Avengers and partly working on Perfect Dark until his replacement was hired. And the fact that they were hiring new people said everything, because prior to that, they didn't hire new people onto the project. If someone left, their work went to somebody else. So someone else is now doing two jobs for the price of one, possibly. And now they're actually having the resources to go out and fill new positions, which said volumes about where the game was or where the studio was behind the scenes in terms of resources and development. And then right after that, we got news that they were in the process of being acquired by the Embracer Group, and then that deal finalized in August. So we got official confirmation that the deal was completed. I believe on August 26th, and that's the story. So it's like we'll definitely learn a little more about what they have planned for Crystal Dynamics in general, in their next quarterly report presentations and all of that. But I think that may even be more focused on things like Tomb Raider and Legacy of Kain, because they just shared a poll or questionnaire survey about what players want to see in the next Legacy of Kain game. Is there interest in a Legacy of Kain game? So it's like they are in a position to definitely hit the ground running and keep things moving in an upward trajectory under Embracer. And Embracer, they're like I said, they trust the process. So if you let them know what your plans are, you give them your pitch, you let them know what you want to do, what your vision is for your game, and if they believe in it, they will support it from afar. So they give you your resources that you need, put you in a position to succeed, and then they watch the process. So when we watch how it performs, we watch how what the numbers say on the back end, and we'll give feedback, or we come in and maybe we need to make some changes or something, or ultimately we will have to shut something down. But it's like those decisions come from afar. They're not over the studio's shoulder dictating what they can and can't do. They're not over their shoulder, bottlenecking resources and things like that. And I think that's probably the best thing for this game. Like they just need the freedom and the resources to do what they can. So if they can get more people on the project, that would be ideal, because that allows them the freedom to do more and get more in the pipeline. I leveled up all my heroes except Jane Foster. Shaquez, you want Thanos and Loki. When we load into the game, it's just saying Embracer Group instead of Square Enix. Yeah, you'll see. I think you'll start seeing those kind of changes probably going into next year and stuff like that. It's like it's all of that stuff will get banged out, over time and things like that. It's like it's not immediate. Like I assume they're gonna change the website at some point and all of that, and it's like it's fine. I don't think we have to panic. I think the second that an acquisition deal was announced, that should have been a side release for the community in general, because they're getting away from the Square Enix deal, and now they're with a studio or a publisher who actually believes in the project and believes in the future of the game. That small new mission was pretty fun and refreshing. Monica and MODOK. Yeah, and like I said, I'm interested to see how they're going to be presented in the Cloning Lab OLT, because, like I said, at the end of that mission, Monica and MODOK were not on the same side. They were about to fight. So I don't know if they reach an understanding once he gets her to the Cloning Lab, but they could very well be dual bosses that we have to face. Avengers can be a top tier game, but they need to listen to their players. I remember one of the devs saying not everyone wants a horde mode, but I hear so many people asking for a horde mode. Yeah, that's, like I said, it's tough, bro. It's just tough. We want so many things for the game. We want to see, we just want to see the game do well. What's up, Jedi Survivor? How you doing, man? And guys, if you haven't already, slap a like. Definitely helps the stream. I promise you it does, and I'll like you 10% more if you do it. But like I said, as long as people are showing up for this game, they're going to keep working on it. They don't show us the specifics of the player numbers, but I guarantee you the numbers are better than what the narrative around the game would suggest to you. I can guarantee you that. I've lost almost all interest in Avengers. I'm playing other games and waiting for some upcoming games. Maybe I jump back when they add content. That is 100% fair, JDC. That is 100% fair. And I like I said, that's what I suggest for people. Like, just just step back. Just step back and play something else. It's a lot of games about to hit the market right now. Enjoy other games. Like Avengers isn't going anywhere. It's going to be here. You got new content right around the corner. And like I said, if it does go away, ultimately it's nothing we can do about that anyway. So it's like, just enjoy something else. Give them an update or two and come back and see what's new. Like, see what's refreshing about that. And if it feels the same, either give them more time, give them another couple updates, or just like, all right, well, I'm not really interested in this game anymore and get out of there. I'm new and I love it. I mean, Spider-Man, you are a part of the target demographic, Richard. That's exactly you're the type of player they're looking for. Somebody who's just new and willing to give the game a try and willing to see what the game has to offer. And they're trying to be more appealing and engaging for players like you. And like I said, I'm glad that you're enjoying the game. I've been here since the first week of the game's release, and it's like I still enjoy it. I was just playing raids and everything last night. I just got the Hulk to 175. I got Kate to 175, and I think I'm 2 gear pieces away from getting Black Panther to 175. My Spider-Man, he's almost 175 as well. I think he's 173. So it's like I've been grinding. I still like the game. I still enjoy the game. So it's like you'll never come over here and see me just completely getting down on the game, or you'll never see me anywhere getting down on the game completely. I'll tell you all the time it's stuff they can do better. It's stuff that I wish they would do better. But at the same time, I'm willing to give them the time to do it. And as you can see, it's a ton of people I want to see come to the game, and I'm willing to stick around long enough to give them the time to do it. But like I said, I want to see who or what we get next. I played the game since beta and launch. Yeah, it's like a lot of people who follow this channel, a lot of people in the community have been here from day one, and all passion, doesn't have to be rooted in negativity. Like, there's plenty of people who are genuinely passionate about this game, both, in terms of being, positive and negative about the game. But it's like, if most of your engagement is negative about the game, it's like it just might be time to put it down. Like, if you don't get excited about anything they announce, like everything they announce, you roll your eyes or you making a snarky comment and stuff. It's like, bro, you don't like the game. Just put it down. And I'm telling you, I'm saying that for you, to help you. Like, you should be playing games to have fun. You should be looking forward to games, to have fun. Games are your escape away from the stress of reality. And it's like, if you're getting more stress from talking about the game and following the game, it's like, then that defeats the purpose of the game itself. Yeah, it's like this game it's a lot of things, and a lot of people want it to be different things. And it's like, you ask 100 people what they want this game to be or what this game needs, you're going to get a ton of different answers. Like, you might get 100 different answers about what this game needs. And that's the conundrum that faces Avengers. Like, it's no simple fix, it's no simple answer, no simple solution to anything. It's a process, and I commend the team for being committed to the process. They try to communicate what they can, even outside of the traditional means of communication. So, the fact that we get developer quotes and teasers about what's coming next, I'll take it. I'll take that. I've had voice chats with the developers. Like, it's a lot of cool people working on this game. A lot of people who really are passionate about what they're doing, and they want people to be excited about what they're bringing to the game. Everything just doesn't land. Some things are out of touch. So it's like the recent Captain America skin. It's like it looks okay. It's fine. You shouldn't have called that the Secret Empire skin though. It's like, you shouldn't have done that. That was out of touch. But they thought, hey, well, this is the inspiration behind it, so it should be fine. And people, of course, killed them in the comments about it. And it's like, you at this point, you got to see stuff like that coming. So it's like, going into year 3, I would know that you can't do something like that with this game. You just can't. You know what I'm saying? You really just cannot do stuff like that with this game. 185 villain sectors, hives, and vaults is the easiest route they can go to take non-in-game missions or to make non-in-game missions replayable, getting burned out on no rest for the wicked because it's the only 185 capable mission. I think you're gonna see a level scaling, with a lot of missions once cloning lab drops, but it's like even with them being 185, it's like it's not really challenging. Not for me. I didn't find it challenging really. We blew through the content, and that's something that I said recently, that we as players, we got to stop doing that. Like, as day one players, we have to stop trying to blow through this content as fast as possible, because that's all the content you're gonna get for like a couple months in most cases. So it's like, if you blow through it, that's it. So hey, I'm gonna level up Bucky as fast as possible, and I'm gonna have him 175 as soon as possible. In a week or two, you're gonna be wishing you didn't do that, because now you're looking for what's next, and it might take a while to get something next. And it's like, we kind of do it to ourselves to a certain degree. So it's like, try to pace it, try to just try to pace it. But yeah, it's like I said, just if you enjoy the game, just chill out. Don't stress about the Embracer deal. Don't stress about what if the game is shutting down and stuff like that. Just enjoy whatever they rolling out, and enjoy it for what it is. Enjoy what comes, and don't put so much focus on what's next. So it's a engaging conversation to talk about what could possibly come next, but let's not get overly focused and caught up on that to the point where we're not even enjoying what's currently in front of us, is what I'm ultimately saying. And like I said, if you're day one, if you've been here since day one, and you are just kind of like, we need better updates, we need bigger updates, you might need to step away for a bit, because there is no update, and there is no one update that's going to really revitalize this game for you. And it's like, I'm not telling you that. I'm not gatekeeping. I'm not telling you you're wrong for feeling like that. I 100% understand. You don't want to play these missions anymore. You're bored with the missions that are available. You are not wrong for feeling like that at all. But you also have the option to step away. Just get out of there for a minute. You got Gotham Knights coming. You got God of War. You got Sonic Frontiers. You got a ton of games, bro. Like, a ton of games are going to be coming out. You got some old games that you may not have picked up. Like, I just went back and picked up Elden Ring, the week 2.6 drop. I've been having a lot of fun in Elden Ring. It's a dope game. I'm going to be replaying the campaign stuff. I finished the main campaign in Avengers. I think I'm moving on to the Kate Bishop campaign maybe this week. So we might do that tomorrow. I might have a stream for that tomorrow, or I might do it later today, depending on what my day is shaping up to be. But yeah, the game is pretty much what you make it at this point. And if you don't enjoy it, you're not wrong for feeling that way. It could do a lot better. It can be better. You just got to give them time. And if you feel like you've given them enough time, you might have to just step away. They can't deliver what you want them to deliver, and that's okay. It's okay to step away after that. But yeah, as always, guys, I appreciate your support. It's been a vibe hanging out with you, and it's still kind of early. We might be out later today. We might be back later today. So I'll put up a poll asking you guys if you want to watch some campaign gameplay, or if you guys want to run some OLTs and raids and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. Appreciate the support as always, guys. Looking forward to doing more giveaways and things like that. You know the vibes. We rocking hard over here. This upcoming Wednesday, that will be my 1 year anniversary on YouTube. So I'm gonna try to figure out something big to do for that day. But like I said, we here for the long haul. So, or at the very least, until we get War Machine. So once we get War Machine, I'm out of here. I'll put the game down. I'm gonna turn into a hater and all of that stuff. Once we get War Machine, I'll go into my villain arc. But until then, we got the same old cast and all of that stuff. But appreciate you guys as always. I will definitely catch you guys in the next one.